That's why Diaspora's Talk is back on your screens on KMTV.
In fact, the Unity Party is not cohesive.
Its social, political, economic, and other issues affecting Liberia and the diaspora Liberian communities.
I did not expect to even make it to Hollywood.
Join Cyrus McGee and Nathan Charles every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, live on KMTV, Facebook, and YouTube.
I want to be arrested in the midst of my people.
As they discuss the issues, blending the voices from Liberia and the diaspora Liberian communities.
The Liberian Business Association in the diaspora should be used as a vehicle for economic development in Liberia because no country can develop without a diaspora in it.
For sponsorship, call some numbers 612-806-5896, 816-433-3979, or better still, email us at usakmtv@gmail.com.
Diaspora Talk, from this house.
Good afternoon. From wherever you find yourself, I'd like to say welcome to this edition of Diaspora Talk here on KMTV, Liberia's premier online television. We are everywhere. That's why we are right here. Today is Friday. It's the 16th day of December, AD 2022. My name is Cyrus McGee, here with my colleague Nathan Charles on this edition of the program. With a lot to run through about Liberia and the Liberian communities in the diaspora. There's nowhere better to catch all of those issues making news from our home and abroad. And then on KMTV Facebook, KMTV YouTube, and of course streaming live now on www.kmtvliberia.com. That's our official website. Nathan, welcome to this edition.
It's a pleasure to be back on KMTV, and it's weekend.
It's weekend, and I know there are a lot, taking place around, but what's playing specifically for the weekend?
Sleep, World Cup game.
Yeah, the big game is on Sunday, right? And a lot of people are anticipating to see that Argentina versus France. Who are you going for?
Both.
Why?
Just the matter of the soccer game. Anyone wins, I'm in for it.
All right, anyone wins, and I know those of you out there, a lot of people watching to see whether it is Messi or Mbappe. So those are the two names, that are on the minds of everybody as it relates to who walks away with the 2022 FIFA World Cup taking place in Doha, Qatar. But on the flip side, we are here, Liberia first, Liberia last, Liberia and Liberia. But Nathan, to kick off, it's been a busy week here in the U.S. With African leaders attending the U.S.-Africa Summit. I know you've been following that so closely, and we've just been chatting about it a little bit. But after the days of sitting, what's in the air so far?
It's good that Joe Biden, a president of the United States, was committed to organize this forum, bringing together African leaders from Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Madagascar, our own beloved country, Liberia. And interestingly, in that summit, President Biden promised to provide over 165 million, and that is going to support elections and good governance in Africa, mainly in 2023. Most African countries are going out for elections, including our own beloved Liberia. How can they sustain democracy in their beloved countries? So Biden has promised and has provided 165 million just for elections and good governance.
So 165 million, 6 countries precisely. Those leaders who met with him will be those countries from at that meeting will be going to elections. 165 million, and somebody said that is helpful because with Liberia especially, we've been crying for money for elections.
Yes, that's good because if the African country is destabilized, definitely there will be no good democracy. So you have to support election free and fair. That was why Joe Biden stressed very much the importance of elections in Africa, because once Africa is not in, Africans are not in peace, they are going here and there, then there will be crisis. Already you see that in Liberia, people are sending sound out that, hey, if things are not done properly, the Elections Commission need some money. Up to this time, they have not been provided 80% of what they need to conduct elections. So how can we promote democracy? How can we promote transfer of power from one person to another? Power is sweet.
Yeah, power is sweet indeed. And if you are watching, that's the photograph from around the table
Yeah.
in the White House with President Biden and those six leaders, including Liberia's George Weah. And with all of this, the issue of democracy, sustaining peace across the continent, I think the message is strong. We have to put our money where we think we should be talking about, and there was no better way to put it. He said it clearly that the U.S. is ready to provide that money for the six countries going to elections. There are other things that are taking place as well. But one thing that remains a huge blow to Liberia is the issue of the MCC.
The Mandatean Challenge Compact.
Hmm.
I mean, because they are benchmark. So regardless of it being a huge mark, that's why we need every stakeholders, right, to live up to that trend or that threshold. If your country is giving that, it's like the US tell you, you have to do this corruption, right? Open governance. You have to improve the educational system, transparency. So it is there building rule of law system. Major thing is that building rule of law system, confident in the court system, right? The issue of peace and security, appropriating money for the intended purpose. You listen to other indicators. How can Liberians work in that direction? So it's not only about the president; it's about those who work within these various land ministry. How can they ensure that we have a coordinated, well reported, and well organized system? If you go down to the finance ministry, if you go down to the justice system, I mean justice ministry, or other areas, you see things are completely disorganized. People are in position, they are now monitoring, something called evaluation and monitoring. So you don't wait for last minute of time before you start doing evaluation or service. So when people invest money, donors invest money, they need results. They give you reasons why they should give you the money, because they too have to justify to the taxpayer that you deserve it. So that money is there to support other areas, right, within developing countries. So Liberia, well, we just need to buckle up. Under President Serif, I think we came 2 or 3 times under the compact. Joshua, we are happy that this was, because the first time it failed like 2, 3 different times. This one now was like, oh, okay, we on course.
After getting the passing mark, yet and still we couldn't make it to be among those countries. Our next door neighbor, Sierra Leone, is among one of those that
competition.
Was able to regain that particular money, because it goes towards development. The U.S. way of helping developing countries or undeveloped country in meeting those developmental needs. We made a pass for the first time on like you put it, but again, over 60 some more countries that made pass through and were successful, but there were just, I think, 6 countries that received that particular money. So it's like you're passing in a school.
The Gambia, Togo, Senegal, and Mauritania rather.
Along with Sierra Leone.
Yeah,
Yeah, so those are countries that were able to sit within what the benchmarks are, meeting those benchmarks, but yet and still the government feels that for the first time a lot of they achieved that feat. But again, the big question is it takes a lot, like you put it, monitoring, evaluation, making sure that those key issues are taken care of, and the issue of corruption is key, but going into an election year, the question remains whether, with everybody hitting the campaign before you know it, whether Liberia will be able to reach such benchmark again for 2024, because whatever allotment that is coming for 2023. So your country is going to elections. You got government officials, everybody putting their pieces into it, making sure that they can win elections. The opposition will be there pushing them. So it to me, I feel that there will be much more of a challenge in getting to that benchmark going into 2024.
Well, government is continuity. So people who work in government, they are not the president. All around in countries that we call them civil servant. right? They are there to stir the affairs.
Not our
They
servants.
are not politicians, right? These are technocrats. While the Minister of Finance can go, he's appointed by the will and pleasure, right? But those who work in that area, who in different departments. So, because basically that MCC is the U.S. government agency working to reduce global poverty, right? It is an independent U.S. government agency. So it's not they are independent. How can they eliminate poverty in African countries? If you have a contract from the government, the federal government, you know you got to be clean. And because if you mess up, they come on your back. So those who work in these things have trash mind. So election is another thing that you say, oh, it's just a political head, but that is to reduce poverty. A president cannot reduce poverty. He also help to reduce it. That's why you have programs, the lobbying power. So that's just one. But also two, even though going to election, that's why this U.S. formula just ended. Money was pumped into African countries, right, for this purpose of the election. How they can
Election and sustaining your democracy and all of that. But on the side of that, other countries were able to make big moves.
performance.
Yeah, performances were good. So they were placed in that range of getting the people money, to work on their developmental agenda. But I listened to the former information minister, now maritime boss, talking about some of the gains made under the WIA government. President WIA is expected back in the country in March and all of that. So it's like
Especially back.
into the U.S. in,
Oh,
in,
wow.
in March. Not
You keep
Liberia.
making me go.
Yeah,
I'm
don't go
like,
there.
what? I'm like,
Don't go there.
stay
He
there
was
again.
taking for over 40 days. He was taking for over 40 some odd days to March, and they already calling it a president, out of presidentless country or what kind of country. But he's talking about returning to the U.S. in March. Another invitation from Biden. So what will come out of that? Is election year, whether he's been called or he's going to be called to be, somehow caution. We are going to elections. I mean, you need to do this. You need to maintain your peace. And with the fact that, I mean, it's election year, a lot of things will be happening, and a lot of noise. We're hearing the noise already with the CPP. But Louis Brown took a shot at this whole MCC compact today. Let me just see whether we can get an excerpt of him as it relates to the MCC, the Millennium Challenge Compact, and what they feel, the opposition black feels about Liberia not making it through to this.
Jobs were promised and no jobs were created. Where opportunities were promised and no opportunity were given to our people. Where unity was promised and all that we've reaped in 5 years has been division and even more division. Where freedom was promised and all we've seen is continuous fear, threats of violence, and actual violence against peaceful citizens. Where security was promised, and even as we speak, Liberians are finding it fearful, frightful, insecure to even walk the streets of their communities. Some as early as after 6 p.m. This is the story of Liberia. We heard that in fact, Liberia passed MCC, the Millennium Challenge Corporation. The government was celebrating all around here, dancing, offering to, in fact, no sound of music. They were still dancing. But now we have heard that Sierra Leone, our next door neighbor, now has a renewed compact. All our booga dancing was for nothing. We have made no compact. The only thing we got out of Washington, while other presidents were signing agreements, out of Washington we got selfie with the U.S. president. It's all over Facebook.
Now, now, Nathan, you listen to him. Um, I know when the issue of the compact, Liberia score high grade, we saw, finance minister there dancing to it, celebrating, explaining why it was a success for the country. You listen to former Minister Brown.
Yes, indeed, because like I said, that's a program to help support in the development and growth. You have Africos was reselected, right? Mozambique, Sierra Leone, and Zambia. These are all people who came onto the compact in the development. So it's indeed all of your neighbors just right around you, right? And these are countries that we share common borders with Africans,
Commonalities.
reselected like Sierra Leone, right? So how can we improve these things? Like I said, it is not on the leader alone. Those technocrats who are responsible for this sector, how can they improve? You know, the church Manhattan can they keep monitoring, evaluating their performances or projects that will make them to hit that church
Make
mark?
them to hit the threshold, and it is something that the opposition feel is a point for them. Yeah, with everything that is going on, we cannot reach this. They are indeed adding this to the reason, more reason for their quote unquote rally. But
Yeah, but again, because the issue of fighting corruption is very key
it's key
on the compact.
to the
And
compact.
good governance is key to compact. So with all of these things, within the sector of our budget, you listen to Center, they said the budget is a tool for corruption within the government because the people are infusing money only for selfish reason, or they are infusing money to hide some shitty things. You see, we hearing that they will put money into the NSA, right? Into the security apparatus, or one ministry having 4 5 item
Line
in the
item.
budget. So these are all things our lawmakers putting in 25,000,
Dedicate.
So these are all things. Good governance is about how can you relate to the people.
How can you relate to the people? So much work need to be done by the we as administration if Liberia will ever make it again to the compact. At a point where we will receive what our sister countries, are receiving and helping to kind of propel their developmental agenda into the positive. But again, this entire noise of the quote unquote rally tomorrow, according to them, is D-Day for their rally, and for the first time in a couple of days, Mr. Cummins, hit the podium with his team. For the first time in a couple of days or in recent weeks, we see Musa Ability is back with the CPP team, though it's been mostly Louis Brown, Ambassador Louis Brown, and Martin Kula. But today, the eve of their rally, Musa Ability, the chairman of the CPP, Alexander Cummins, who's the political leader of the CPP, as well as his team Cummins chairman, Louis Brown, former ambassador, all took to the podium to mesmerize Liberians and make people to reason with them on why it is necessary to get out tomorrow to express to government what they term or what they are terming as the country is tired of suffering, the country is suffering. But let's listen to Mr. Cummins on this one.
Of our country, and he's prepared to take the risk to make sure we can change our country for the benefit of all Liberians. So Musa, thank you. I also want to acknowledge he's not here, the deputy chairman or vice chairman of the CPP, the chairman of the ANC, Senator Daniel Fumo-Natin, our Secretary General, who will be there tomorrow, as well as the chairman Aloysius Stowe. I want to acknowledge Mr. Louis Brown, Ambassador Louis Brown, for his leadership of Team Cummings and of this rally. And all the people that spoke, Mahaja, Sange, Amos, Roland, all of them taking risks in the context of our country. People who come and speak out, speak truth to power, take personal risks, and I want to acknowledge and thank them. But I want them to know that they have nothing to fear. The Liberian people, you have nothing to fear. It is your right to let your government know that you tire suffering. It is your right to let your government know that you tire of their stealing. It's your right to peacefully assemble, and tomorrow will be peaceful. I also want to thank the Minister of Justice for his commitment to this peaceful rally. I want to thank and acknowledge the Inspector General of Police also for his commitment to this peaceful rally. But we hold them, we hold the President, we hold the CDC government accountable for the peaceful assembly of its citizens tomorrow. And I call on everybody who's coming tomorrow, don't be provoked. Don't be distracted. Come and let's let President Weah and his government know that we are suffering and we're not happy with their performance. I keep reminding Liberians that our country will not change because we talk it, because we wish it to change. It will change because we're willing to do the work and make the sacrifice. And tomorrow we'll begin the journey of making the sacrifice of making President Weah a one-term president.
Alexander Cummings, he's the head of the CPP, that's the Collaborating Political Party. Nathan, you heard him there, though in a soft tone, but reassuring, Liberians that there is a need to get out. I mean, encouraging Liberians that there is a need to get out there. You heard him talking about the justice minister, the police, thanking them for working with them in making sure that they have that tomorrow. But he's putting it at the feet of the government. The security apparatus will be here responsible for anything that might go wrong.
We pray that all goes well. The message sent across to all stakeholders, foreign international partners, and our government. Despite President Weah will not be in the country, but the message will reach him. It has already reached him because he has been speaking about it at forums and stuff like that. And people are saying there is no impact. When protests or rallies are held, observers are around, locally, internationally. Again, when multitudes of people assemble somewhere, it sends, pictures don't lie, it sends a sound. So people are saying, oh, again, it is no doubt that people in Liberia are suffering. George Weah government came on the hope for change. How can they help improve the lives of the people? Have they done that? No. Are they doing that? They are trying. But can there be more improvement? Yes. Are there lapses? A lot. Are there the issue of evaluation monitoring? There is also lacking, right? So when people are greedy, right? When greed oversees people, they tend to put their blind eyes on issues. So indeed, government must wake up. They should not wait for only election time, which is a few months from now, before they start doing this. Because you are in a political gathering. There is a lash at the Unity Party. Nepotism. Charles said it, Robert said it, in government.
In government, this is happening, that is happening, and now they are at the hem of power. People expect. But on the other hand, people feel that the organizers of this particular rally who are pushing this message, they're not doing it with the form of unity with their fellow oppositions. You see opposition, leaders or runners who, the tough talking that people follow, most of them are staying away.
Yeah, I listened to Heron Costa. He called his supporters not to attend the rally this morning. And I listened to Tiawon Gonglo. He don't support the people who are running this rally. So, however, you will not get 100% because guess what? When you have a group, there will be some people with tinted characters, right? Do people trust them? The biggest thing for anybody to do is to trust you.
Trust you.
Can we trust the Louis Brown? Few weeks ago, I call it few weeks, right? Because it's 52 weeks at 1 year.
1 year.
So few weeks ago, Louis Brown was just lobbying for a job in Japan. He was ambassador XYZ. He worked in a few years, he worked in the Weah government. We saw, or the Taylor government. We saw how things went. He worked in the Eddie Johnson Sedi government. This is a Louis Brown who, by moth President Eddie Johnson Sedi, they gave him job, he accepted it. So Is this a genuine man? This is a man who
People feel
working
that
with.
he, in his position, he helped to suppress the then opposition CDC when they had these same claims and wanted rallies or protests and all of
Yeah,
that.
but that's
Now,
why.
if the table has flipped,
Yeah, but that's why this government should not do the things that is happening. So for me, people say, "Oh, the messenger." No, it's not the messenger. For me, is what should be done should be done, regardless of who's saying it. So if you're a good, you claim to be a good man, and you're not doing it. So the barman see it. The barman
Barman
will
will-
lash at you. So people are really suffering. How can this government raise people out of poverty? President George, we are always boast and gave his children story from the
from
slum of
Gibraltar.
Gibraltar. Nathan Charles want to be that person too from the slum of Gibraltar. Most of the guys I speak to are the younger boys and pimping riders. How can they raise out of that thing of poverty? They have the skills, they have the ability, they have the agility, right? But they need that support. Like a famous saying that before you rise up, you got to stay on the shoulders of great of another person. So people, the issue of our stable food, our agriculture sector, our roads, see, go on social media, see the roads condition, the issue of education. Few days ago, I was happy when I saw.
And I was just the other day, I was here watching the road to recovery that you worked on during the Salif administration, talking about what roads can do, what are the hurdles and all of that. Even when there is something going on, we're not seeing these things.
Yeah, because
So,
communication arms, they are weak, they are selfish, they are greedy, they are unprofessional, they lack that skills. There's something called passion. Passion is more of, it's not what you get, but the end result.
And do you
makes
think
you
that this
happy.
government don't have the best messengers
Well,
to crowd?
they don't have it because if they have it, some of the things I see, some of the releases I see, some of the things that I know they should be promoting or encouraging people to talk about or showcasing to the world, they don't do it. This government has the highest lobby power because during President said anytime we had that Riversing or somebody doing lobbies, international lobbies, but now they have all kinds of people who are lobbying for them, and those people, how can they bring more investment into the country, right? So the situation.
So with the
like
fact that you
Nigeria-
don't have the right people to propagate your messages, people not seeing, even if you're doing a little, people are not seeing it. These people, the people on the other side, yep, the people on the other side will capitalize on it and let the population to know that you are doing nothing at all, and that's what a couple of days now or weeks. That's what Louis Brown, Martin Kula, and other people, the messages they've been putting in the ears of the people. And of recent, one person that is like, amplifying this is Yeka Kolba. Have you seen him on the trail recently? Just day before yesterday. Yesterday, he was around, with his loudspeaker in his pickup truck, moving around from market to market in his bulletproof jacket, telling the people why they should come out to rally on Saturday, which is tomorrow, and all of that.
Yes, I mean that's the right to encourage people to stand against the weird government. My only issue is they in government needs to provide the basic social services to our people. They didn't stop the issue of the corruption, the issue of wasteful spending. Few days ago, a whole dedication to the America. If the people claim you are doing wasteful spending, what's the economic benefit, right?
That's coming back.
That's coming back. How can you tailor that message? The issue of the rules, the issue of our security, the issue of job creation. How can you do that? Companies, investors are coming into the country. There are a whole lot of things. See GFK, see the situation that happened recently with Samuel Tue. He had to leave the country for a few days. These are bad public relations for the government.
Because you cannot get treated in your own
You
country.
cannot get for we call it minor stuff. So you don't tell me there is no CT scan to determine if that you do internal bleeding to fly out the country or your ribs or neck bone broke that you have to fly out of Liberia. And you see he's back in Liberia. One major thing, that we don't have CT scan to scan your body right there. I know there are other private hospitals, right? JFK do have, Jackson of the hospital do have. We have these people. So it means that our own people and our health workers, right, they are not receiving compensation. A civil servant just start receiving compensation or the salary for
The salaries, and it was like news all over the place. But again, I mean, with all of this, the opposition is capitalizing on these things, to send message out to government. we hope that the enabling environment will be provided tomorrow. Security will be there. To the last time we saw protests, we saw the police out there giving food, giving water to people. I mean,
Yeah,
making
but guess what? Some bad apples might use that situation. For me, I'm still hesitant because there will be some bad people who just want to make the opposition look ugly, right? Maybe go there, say that there's this ugly, let's start throwing stones, or some supporters of the government will be passing around, and I'm sure there will be some level of friction.
and that's why when these things come out, the police will want to. And because a lot of people say, "Oh, we is our right to protest, our constitutional right," but you know, why is it that justice ministry say write us to tell us you want to, or you want to rally? Because they can be able to control the way you do your rally, so that you don't interfere with other people who are not rallying. For instance, like I said, the Liberia is a one-way entry. In the morning, everybody from Ghana's from Douala, from St. Paul Bridge, Broadway, going to town to work. Everybody coming from
Painesville.
Painesville going to Central Monrovia. In the evening, everybody from Woro out. So as a result of that, people might be, commuting to work, people leaving to go to the SKD. Traffic will be caused.
It's Saturday,
Uh,
people will not go to work. Or
businesses.
businesses.
Let put it that way. People still go do their hustle and thing. Other people. So the interaction, going in and out of the diplomatic enclave. You need the security forces to help you safeguard, to be on your line if there is something of violence, or somebody trying to cause some trouble. That's why people. I mean, it's important that you write the security agencies or those responsible Ministry of Justice that we want to rally. We need security, and on a serious note, I'm happy that the Ministry of Justice was able to work with them. Unlike before, I can remember, was it 2010, 2011, around before the elections, when the CDC said they were going to protest, but then George Solo was their chairman. They said they were going to protest. Then Justice Minister Christiana said no protesting. And what is it? Whether they agree, with protest will take to the street. And they did on that day. We all saw what happened. So with the fact that this government can now, tell you, okay, you want to protest, let's do it this way. And the opposition, on the other hand, is listening, working with them, having a couple of meetings, how to get the security in place, how to have those people protected. I think it's a plus for both the security apparatus and the opposition
Well,
community.
it will only become a plus once.
After tomorrow,
So
when they get up to the street and there is no, report of, confusion, or people throwing stones, people fighting among themselves. We hope that people will not infiltrate. If you have nothing to do with the protest, they say if you are suffering, come outside. If you feel you're not suffering, don't come outside. If you love that message and you think you fall within it, join them. If you know that you don't, stay home or stay out of the cycle. So that would be my thing to our people tomorrow. If you are not a part of this, do not provoke people. Do not get out there and do things that will be provocative, that will cause problem, and have the country going into something that we don't want to see.
and one of the protests I was held in Liberia, June 7, the famous June 7.
I'll cover that.
Yeah, so
We're interviewing Winston Tottenham when they shot the first tear gas.
yeah,
you
and
know,
that was something there because it is important that people turn out to speak against ills in society. So our government should know. And George, we are here, cabinet ministers are sitting there and laughing, ha ha ha, laugh. Let them know that people are, in Gibraltar, in West Point, in Soniwe, in Campley, in Zoli, in Point, in Rawsport, and all around the country, they need these basics. Imagine people in Monrovia, right, are experiencing a pinch. Now Christmas is coming. Take a video and watch a couple of videos.
got the messages already.
And see how people need these decisions. How can
the
we
messages and calls already coming in from
The
Liberia?
thing is, in Liberia, government is a major employer. How can we divert our attention into the private sector? Agriculture, your budget is now more than 10% into agriculture. The lawmakers and other people, ministers, are receiving $15,000 a month. You and I know in the US, getting $20,000 a month, to even have five or 10 or $8,000 a month, right? That's something good you can live with. But and And how many days do they work for? Tuesday and Thursday they go to session. Monday, Wednesday, Friday they have committee meetings. If you
They
put the
have
entire, if you
visitation
calculate the
all
entire
day.
hours, it's not more than 40 hours they work for the entire month.
And the thing about it is that you know what bothers me about that. You will see there are major issues. Like the other day, I was watching some other appearance or something. Lawmakers in session are pushing for this thing to be over so we can leave from here.
Is it noise maker?
I beg you. Let's
Noise
make it so we
maker?
can leave from here. You got just 2 days or 3 days, to do the people's work. They want to get out of the Capitol building before 5 o'clock. And
When do they enter? 11:45.
11, 12. Some of them they just go press it and they leave. And you watch sessions here at Dayton when there are cardinal issues. You see these people stay in chambers, sometimes until midnight,
Yeah.
just to debate issues.
We saw the elections for Trump impeachment.
They had to stay. They had to stay, and your vote had to be counted. There were times that the late Senator John McCain asked them to filibuster until he traveled from where he came from to get there to vote. It was on the Obamacare stuff, and those people stay in session. Wow, people, yeah, lawmaker open. We gotta make it take the vote. We gotta go. Really? What are you being paid for? So I mean, these people have their will. Thank God that
They don't have
the
the will.
space,
They work by the will and pleasure of the Liberian
but
people.
the workers have to say they have their will, to do what they want.
Yeah, because the issue
And-
of vibrant democracy, an independent group, that the opposition, the independent civil society group, how can we hold these people accountable? And the thing is, I tell people, when people are poor, right, the rich people use them, bribe them, give them some money, then they infiltrate the society. If you stand up for your vision, if you stand up for your goal, people are there threatening you, right? They go in, if they can get to you, they can convince you, they go into your family members. So all of these kind of all the kind of technical issues and I would call it crooked situation to get at people, it's not helping war. So people are not man enough. I bet if you start talking about something, oh, you better be careful. You better be careful. So
Better be careful with who I am. Oh, you better take time with yourself.
So what happened to the
I,
auditors?
I remember before we leave this tire suffering thing. I remember one time when Prince Johnson won Burma JV Burma. we were covering the center that day, and Senator Johnson had closed his eyes and Burma took a picture. Everybody, oh, the senator sleeping, senator sleeping, senator sleeping. And he called him to his office. He was then working with Democrat. You know who I am? I'm not nobody to joke with. You can't take my picture like that. Out of fear, he had to delete it. You understand? So it's like they instill fear into people. If you are not strong enough, trust me, you will fall to that. So with everything that is happening, these people are contributing largely to what the Liberian people are going through. Those on Capitol Hill, those are people that should be able to hold the executive by the fire. Now they have the budget for the next year. What are they doing? When we hear people doing budget performance reports and telling them, you give me 1,000 for pencil, I bought the pencil, or these are facts that we bought the $1,000 pencil, you appropriated, and that's what they are. You can say we are the problem on Capitol Hill, and I believe him.
Yes, I mean, for now they are going to start holding some people, for example, superintendents, district commissioners, and stuff like that, because these are lawmakers who are lobbying for hospitals to be built in this place. So now they want to use that thing to say, you see, I'm putting this in the budget
To get reelected.
Get reelected. If you re-elect me, all the thing will not be passed and stuff like that.
We started this, we got to complete it.
Complete it. So using the budget as a tool for campaign or as an area of cohesion is criminal in nature. You are there to, and interestingly, most of them are going to be leaving in during election year. What are they going to put in for them, right? So these are other issues going to be looked at. Liberia is bigger than any individual. If we start holding people accountable and penalizing them, persecuting them for act of inhumane activities or for not performing the functions. I tell you, most of the guys, them, if you look at, do they go back to the constituency, to the people, question them what decision they took? Do they bring this decision as a leader? You have to engage your community, right? When there are issues, how best can we go about this? Should we vote for this? Should we not vote for this? Have a leadership meeting with your people. Most of them don't do that. Liberia, the thing is the issue of a system. I see our system is collapsed. So because we don't have that strong system, most people don't even know about they took civics from in school now. So people don't know about parliamentary procedure, right? What the function of a lawmaker, what he should do. All of them know is I them oversight, responsibility, oversight. That's what
Not making oversight
making
responsibility to pass around with that all the time.
But the issue of accountability, the issue of accountability, how accountable are you to your people? Not to say, oh, I'm gonna get $5 though. This is $5, but this is how we're going to use it. And this is the incoming $5. This is how we're going to use it. You saw how long it took them to expose their salaries, their benefits, how long it took them. So we have the issue of integrity. That's why even the U.S. ambassador said fighting corruption will require effort of the government and stakeholders to support anti-graft institution. Corruption starts from the home. It starts from the churches, right? It starts from within the community. Then it goes to the government.
So and everyone will have a role to play in that. I mean, the issue of trust, accountability, and this has hit the CPP on the back of their rallies. We woke up this morning to what news? Or last night, it started from last night.
Yeah.
That the driver of the Secretary General of the CPP, Martin Kula, his driver made away with reportedly 70,000 United States dollars that was intended to facilitate the rally. I mean, it's something that went wide this morning. There was a press release circulating that many say was from the CPP to the Ministry of Justice reporting this. But when we contacted how you call him, Martin Kula, he's denying that the release is not authentic. I mean, it's not truth.
It's not from him.
It's not from him. Though it's under his signature, we don't see any number, we don't see any email, and these are some of the things. You just see release fly. There is no trace of contact. But the only way we got to know that it was true when Louis Brown spoke about it today. So we will play an excerpt of Louis Brown as it relates to this whole absconding with over 70,000, around 70,000 United States dollars from the CPP by the driver of his.
I was just doing the calculation. It's over 11 million
Liberian dollars.
11 million, not thousand.
11 million Liberian dollars. So
not thousand.
Let's get an excerpt from Louis Brown.
That only the people in Monrovia are suffering. That only the people in Monrovia are suffering. And we are telling them that is not the case. That is not the case. And so after the successful rally here in Monrovia, we will look to take this We Are Tired Suffering rally. Now I wish to address an unfortunate situation last night. And I see government people dancing, celebrating. A young man who happens to be the driver of the head of the We Are Tired Suffering rally made away last night with some money intended for the acquisition of ambulances, the purchase of water for our people, and the provision of other logistics required for the successful operation on the day. Now, we regret deeply this incident. This is stealing, and it is unfortunate. But what is also true in our country, which we must not ignore, and that is why we must have the rally tomorrow. And that is why Liberians from all across Monserrato must come out tomorrow. Is because this young man believes himself to see an opportunity out of his suffering by seeing what is this is what our value system has become. And young people are seeing this from the bad example of the president. From the president on down. This is so bad that foreign government officials are referring to our country as a kleptocratic one. Kleptocratic, a big term. It just simply means rogue government. And so young people see these bad examples and think they too must do the same thing. This is why we are also having this rally. For that young man who decided that stealing other people's money, what was for the good of everyone, he alone should take it and run away with it to end his suffering. We've seen
Louis Brown, former Minister of Foreign Affairs, former National Security Advisor to President Charles Taylor, former LPRC Managing Director, former ambassador to the United Nations, you know, doing the Salif government and the opening of the WEAS administration. It's not leading this. He's one of the tough talking. Listen, you listen to him. Now he's attributing this to what the young people see their leaders doing.
Well, stealing is not good. And I think that young man, if he's arrested, he should be persecuted. I don't support no form of stealing. The issue of integrity, that's what comes in. We also yearn for fighting for generational change. Again, the environment itself creates that conducive environment. The environment itself creates the avenue for you to engage in that. You know, I was just sitting down retrospecting, I'm like he said, seize that opportunity. Well, and, you know, to make himself rich. But sometimes you have to work.
You see how many million that bring dollars?
11 million. 11 at the rate of $152 1 US dollars. If we do at $152 US, they're going to give you that. So it is not a small amount of money. And you know, our country's borders are already porous. I can get on something like charter or taxi and go Guinea. I mean, what if this near
the easier, no, it's too far.
Oh, okay.
It's too far. The easier border route out of Liberia is through Sierra Leone. What else are you across?
We heard that somebody rap it.
So
somebody rap it.
I'll be Costa can relate. Pedro can relate. Through Sierra Leone. Yeah, will tell you. The only man who couldn't make it across was how you call it, Azefa Tupa. He couldn't make it. So he had to get tea. But that's the shortest way out of Liberia. You know, directly. And the security guys, our security guys are broke. The man gets 70K on him. He gets to the border, just even a K, $5. The security commander there will you. And is that somebody that is like well known?
Yeah,
he's not well known. But John Derry, I go right across me. I go to Freetown. Everybody going through Freetown to go jolly.
Yeah, and
a lot of Liberians going through there to go to Freetown to have some fun.
And you can face an ID card or
our man Boyman JV Boyman all of there before you knew it. Yeah. He was right through the same border.
You can face it in the night.
And yeah, it's like, and another thing is that, like somebody said, the people working with you are broke, right? They are suffering, like you put it. You say they're suffering. And they see you carrying around huge amount of cash. There's in no way supporting what this young man did, right? But it's like Brown put it. He felt it was an opportunity, you know. But 70,000, before you know it, if you're not somebody to plan, you blow it off. He's not in Liberia. He's if it is if it is in the country. I mean,
That's a good money.
yeah.
You can
But
you can blow a hustler. And looking at his picture is somebody who's well inclined. The issue of what I was saying, the issue of having that trust with people. Again, lot of questions must be asked.
because number
Lot,
one, they up to now, though Martin Kula said the release we seen parading on Facebook. I saw Henry Costa posting it. I saw Darius DeLon. I don't know. DeLon was saying something like, whoever wrote the release, I think you were questioning or
yeah.
something, and other people from the opposition cycle that are not in favor of this writing, they are posting and spraying this. From what they are posting, it says 70K.
So we need to verify if that's
That is
70K.
actually a 70.
How-
I mean, it's 70K.
How did they arrive at 70K? How did they get that money? The processes they left from one destination to another. How from if it was from the house, when did he get it to validate? It is 70K. Also to looking at the communication, right, between how did the driver leave, and from in the presence of Martin, what level of
Whether he was even in the presence of Martin.
presence of Martin.
So, and they are remaining tight-lipped. Martin you don't want to speak further. All he could say was the release is not true, but you're refusing to tell us
If the money
was 70,000, whether it was in the midst of somebody. How did this driver know that you're carrying this around? Did he even make away with one of their vehicles? These are questions that they're not asking. Even in their press conference, they did not say anything about that. So it boils down to
speculation. People will speculate.
people keep speculating
And start
until
saying, they will even start accusing them of, because they already started accusing Louis Brown and Martin of stealing, and stuff like that, conniving with the drivers, and because people will make the story. That's why I said communication is not waiting for the last minute to be reacted.
and if you see the expression on the face of Mr. Cummings today when that press conference was taking place, I know.
So you're saying that Cummings money?
No, it's like I mean no, and not about.
That's what the speculation is saying.
Yeah,
That
so
Cummings
maybe that he got the lion's share of that ma, or whether he raised it, but the expression on his face alone tells that he might not be 100% happy with what happened. They would not want to say it's a throwback, or it has some impact on their rally, because they said, oh, no matter what, it's no turning back. We will keep going. Must have this rally, according to Louis Brown. But indeed, anybody would say that.
So you see, that's why I say the issue of, so if you did, I mean, so many questions, right? I'm looking at that way. Why will an institution take a huge sum of money to go and pay people? That's why we have system. That's why people have
So,
checkbook.
like you were saying
right?
earlier
The
on,
issue-
photos don't lie. So if you're watching, that was the expression on the face of Mr. Cummings today when they had that press conference at the time. Listening, it actually tells you that no, this is not something is not 100% okay here. But then yet and still, they feel that everything is okay. The money was intended to buy water. It was intended to secure ambulances for them to get food. Maybe they're not talking about food, but
guess
again,
what? There's, you see, that's why people they call it anti-terrorism a financial crime, right? All money must have a trace. Anybody who pick up sum of money, right, to say the distribution to people, that amount, they must be investigated. Martin is an auditor.
Yeah.
And so that one, I need more explanation, because just looking at the whole story, what is the trace, right? Do your check. How can you do check and balance? So it means that the source of that money came from somewhere, so you don't want to have a trace. The only way you not have a trace of a money, once it is not having any transfer, right? You have your check, you write the check out. If the people are in the ambulance, they can go to the bank and cash the check out. If they are vendors, water companies and stuff, because you're not going to buy water from the bank, anything. You go to the Aqua Life mineral water or some other water factories, local businesses, you're supporting them, you write a check in the name. Because if you have performance, right? Performance of the campaign. How do you account for this money were used?
I think Martin should have known better, because these are some of the same things that people raised with the DeLon campaign and the money that were raised. What they did with it, there's no traceability. People complaining, oh, we donated our money, we don't have trace. So, I mean, they keep making these mistakes over and
over
again.
again. But every money must have trace. Once that money, even the law says once the money is over $500, I mean 5,000 like Brenda, you must have receipts. If I give you 5,000, I must get receipts for a trade.
Financial trades, money moving from here and there, Nathan. Our people are not making use of
Mobile money, transfer.
like when I went to Liberia in December, or I got money on my mobile money I want to use, and for you enter a store, I want to buy this. They have every store should have a mobile money number, easy access to moving money here and there. I can still roll my phone, use my code, transfer money for what I want to buy, and it will tell you, no, we want cash. Everybody wants to handle cash, But these are the same people that should be pushing this. I have this. I want 50 sack of mineral water for my rally. Here you get me a mobile money. How much is this?
Yeah.
Wire it to your mobile money account. It's account to account.
Yeah.
Easy to trace.
If you're that, you have to check. You go to Total gas station, right? Or SP gas station. Look, I need 400 gallons of gas. Pay that money, that check, rating the SP gas station. The 50 motorcycle or 500 motorcycle, all the gas for the trucks and stuff, because they are renting.
Everybody get a coupon.
They get a coupon.
Well,
you go there and
get your gas.
So there will be a trace, but you cannot. So first thing I want to know, if it was 70,000.
70,000.
Then the entire day are blunder. They are foolish to hold physical cash of that amount with the experience. And again, you are going among people. So this issue of security, why were you? Even at one time, I remember I had a $1,000. The first time I had $1,000. Every moment I went with
Be checking.
every moment I would touch my. Every moment I'll be like, well, you can't hear me say. All my friends look at me close. After a while, I touch my hand was 1 minute. I won't put my hand in my pocket. So such an amount, it should raise a line again. We need to know the real story. Let us stop the speculation. They need to come out and speak clearly. When you start leaving something in doubt, it means there's something feature. You're trying to fix your story. They say, somebody told me, say, lie is hard to remember. Truth is easy to say. You can't, because lie, you gotta be keeping that one lie. Oh, I told Sarah I can't eat salt. So if I go tell James I can eat salt, and James is related to Cyrus, Cyrus might know one day. But if it is true, I can't eat salt.
My grandma used to say, if you're lying, you should keep lying. Just
It's
keep
hard.
lying.
It's hard to lie.
Because if you just make a mistake, you tell the real truth.
It's hard to lie.
So you keep lying. You have to keep lying until you can't lie no more. Because just a little mistake will say the truth. So they need to come out and tell the Liberian people, be clear. You're talking about accountability. Yes.
Transparency, good governance, that procedure. It's not because I got it. They are from the opposition, or because government too is corrupt, so people should be corrupt. The opportunities we need to put in system that, hey, this is the person who want to talk about transparency, accountability.
We got to start it.
You got to start it. How much? Even if you get $10,000, you want to pay people. Can we have trace of that money? Because these are people who supported that money, except the money is dirty money. There can be no trace. Hey, we can't say the money came from Nathan's account, right? For example, if I'm in the government, I'm supporting the rally, I'm not going to give them trace money, right? I'm going to be physical, so it's clandestine, right? So if they are paying, because they are umbrella, if they are paying that money out for auditing purposes with institutions, right? It must have trace, because the money, according to Louis Brown, it was for what? Ambulance, right?
Water
and other stuff. So some people have something they call mescalines. These are money you can spend out and on the spot the people then give them. But if you are paying institution, you cannot hold such a huge money and say you paying it and get a physical cash. Then how do we get receipt? We receipt in the hands. Then anybody can do it. I can call and say, okay, I need James Brown, receipt in my hand for 50,000.
There is no traceability. So if you're talking about accountability, corruption and accountability, you want people in government, people running government agencies or arms that are responsible for handling money. Like I tell somebody, the issue of mobile money should be used widely in Liberia. The issue of how do we call it here?
Cash app.
Cashier check,
cashier
check,
yeah.
or how you call it the other one we use here. It just came out of my head that you have to money order. Yeah, these are things that can be simple, to use and make it work in the country. if I cannot, I shouldn't be. You shouldn't be taking 70K around like you in somewhere that you cannot keep money, because you have to, like you put it, the issue of traceability is very, 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 very much important. So they said it's not a setback to their rally. Their rally is going to go on. But one person that spoke yesterday against, the issue of rally at this time is one person who stood up and rallied with George Weah and the opposition. The man who said if Ellen becomes president again, hair should grow in her palm. You remember?
Who said those words?
Yeah, man. They had I covered that rally right on the Springfield now, the one they call Invincible Park. They had that rally there. He's in government now. As a matter of fact, he's in the legislature. He stood up there. The speakers were facing Ellen's home, because Ellen home is just across the street from that Invincible Park. And he said if Ellen wins the 2011 elections, hair should grow in her palm. And guess what? Ellen won. He became superintendent of Sano County. Later became senator of Sano County. And he's talking about 40 years ago, they did the first protest in Liberia, recounting what happened. He named himself. He named, Bacchus Matthew. He named Deacon Carla. He named Sam Jackson. He says they were the guys who organized that. But today, Senator Milton Theodore feels that no, this is not the right thing. Let's listen to him a little bit.
And we go way back. And Louis is somebody that I have a lot of respect for. I understand these protests are being put together on the banner of the CPP. And I'm concerned as to what might be the outcome of these protests that are being organized. And the reason I'm concerned because I have witnessed demonstration in this country before. I was involved in plenty of demonstrations in 1979. I witnessed people dying in the streets. I witnessed people, children being shot in the streets. I witnessed jailhouses being saturated with individuals.
And that's the voice of Senator Milton Tiege, like we said, one of those who rally against Ellen. Today he feels that the rally that is being planned by the CPP for tomorrow shouldn't be. There is no need for that. But we have live on the line the Secretary General of the CPP, Martin Kula. Martin, welcome to Diaspora Talk.
No, you're just...
Martin, are you there? And he did tell us that he's in the midst of something.
It was a rally that will be the connotation, but we just need to just make sure.
I don't think he's speaking to us.
And he agreed to speak, but he said he's in the middle of something. See whether you can get him back, because we need that clarity as it relates to this entire 70K. But
Mr. Kula, hello. Mr. Kula?
Is ringing.
Okay, we're trying to make effort to talk to Martin Sekula and see if we can get him to speak on that issue relating to the CPP cash that is in thin air. Millions of
nobody know where you're hanging right now.
Millions of Liberian dollars in thin air. As to whether it's traveling to another country, we don't know. So it appears that he's not answering.
So we lay low with that for now, but he said that the release is not real, it's fake, but yet still we need to know what are that amount of money. The 70K is fake too. So if the release can be fake, what are the 70K is fake. But on the flip side, the media is also still in the news as it relates to the just ended Congress and elections of what the PL term as a new code of officer court case hanging now. We understand the justice in Chimber recently sent them back to Banga, Bon County, Bon County, where the presiding judge, Wema Konto, is expected to look into the claims from the team Julius Kanumba, who backed down. They did not, stand in elections in Banga. They feel that it was fraudulent. They had issues that needed to be addressed. They came out of a release. We happy to have Julius on the phone with us. Julius, welcome to Diaspora Talk.
My pleasure to form part of your discussion on diaspora talk, and it's good to be on the show. I'm sorry for appearing at this particular time because we've been having some discussions with our legal team, and I know you've been exerting all efforts to get me.
Yeah, I know this is in code. I don't want to go too much into it. I know your legal team will say do not go too deep into it until we can get out of code. But on the surface, tell us, how did we get to where we are? The watchdog of the society is now into this deep electoral mess. How did we get to this point?
Well, first, the media is a part of the society, and the society is constituted by different sorts of arrangement in terms of the laws, in terms of the rules, the regulations. So the president has got a constitution that has been in operational since the president was formed. I know the constitution has been amended and adopted several times, the last being in 2009. And so we register interest for the presidency of the PUL. And then one of our colleagues who is in the leadership also, or in the formal leadership, register an interest. So we did register in terms of following the application processes. And then were confirmed to be candidates in the President of Liberia 2022 elections. So the elections were to be held on the second Saturday of November. That is the second Saturday of November. But the Congress shall be held 3 days, for 3 days, meaning from Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And so this year's Congress was scheduled to take place in Banga Bon County. I think you were mentioning the issue of Banga. And that was started by the leadership because in 2019, the union did not have a Congress in terms of deciding the venue of the next Congress. So the leadership selected Banga, in as much it was not selected by the Congress of 2019 because of the very same situation of a dispute as a result of contention within or on the electoral process. So we got here because we did an application, and per the President Constitution, there are different criteria that are set for people to become members of the union, and there are 4 different categories of membership of the PUL. You have what we call the full member, you have the associate membership, you have the affiliate membership, and you have the institutional membership. For the purposes of elections, we are only dealing with the full membership, and to become a full member of the PUL, you shall have practiced as a Liberian journalist for 5 years.
As per the laws, as per the constitution of the president of Liberia, which I know.
Yeah, that's correct. You practice for 5 years with a recognized and accredited media institution. And that is critical. Check the word recognized and accredited media institution. It does not mean that if you practice journalism to any other institution that is not recognized or accredited, it means you are a journalist. No. So that was the first point. And the second point is before you become a member of the Press Union of Liberia, that is to become a full member, you can also obtain a degree in journalism, media, and communication. And that means that you have to practice for 2 years. If you have a degree in journalism, media, and communication, you can become a full member of the PUL. And you can also become a full member of the PUL if you have a degree in any other disciplines outside of journalism, media, and communication, and you practice for 3 years. So 4 different provisions are set in the constitution of the President of Liberia to become a full member. Because the 4 members of the PUL are the voters. And in the constitution of the PUL, especially Article 10, Section 7, it spells out the responsibilities of the membership committee and the leadership in terms of the publication of the membership register. And it says the membership register should be disaggregated. But this aggregation, they talk about, the categories in terms of the types of membership, whether full, affiliate, associate, institutional, or associate.
So in short, if there is 100 or 500 persons registered, that this how you call it should be telling us that 200 people are full member, 100 people are associate member. There is 150 that is like maybe institutional members.
That's correct. And besides that, you should spread out the gender types of the person. I mean, we normally say sex. That is, if they are a male or female or any other gender type, whether bisexual, lesbian, gay, or any other thing.
Even though we
And then you
don't
should
have,
also
even though we don't have that in Liberia, Papa Law.
you should yeah, you should also spread out what sort of title the person holds in a particular media entity. For example, a talk show host, an editor, or station manager. So you have to spell out those positions, and then you should also spell out the institutions that the person is working with or working for, right? For example, if you are working for KMTV, and I mean you are a full member of the PUL, we need to know the institution that you're working for. And in the constitution, it also says etc. So as part of it, we say, okay, since indeed the media, in terms of the union, the Press Union of Liberia has expanded significantly, we also want to know the counties that these full members are located in. Because for us, we went to these elections having taken into consideration what happened in 2019. So we follow all of the steps in line with the constitution. We requested that the membership registry be done in line with the constitution. And when we did that, we wrote first the membership committee. We observed several things. Cyrus, you are a full member of the union. I know maybe you now registered in 2022, meaning you are not in good standing with the union, but you are yet a full member of the union.
Yeah, you gotta mail us out here to maintain or regularize our membership as often as we can.
Yeah, and as part of the disaggregation, Cyrus, it says you should be able to state whether that particular full member is a due paying, non-due paying, or delinquent due paying member, right? Because the Press Union membership is a lifetime membership as long as you became a full member. If you are due paying, it will be stated. If you are not due paying, it will be stated. So what happened in terms of how we reached to the particular stage was that the membership committee is in charge of vetting the membership application, and then they can be able to accredit it or give you membership based on your years of service in journalism, based on your years of practice, and based on the empirical evidence that yes, Cyrus has been practicing with Kings FM. He practiced for this other radio station, and he has met the 5-year requirement or the degree or degrees requirement. So what happened was that the membership committee published a list of full members, right? And that membership came up to 1,374. That was done, I think, in the second week of October. And when that membership committee did the publication, we vetted the list as a campaign team interested in the leadership of the Press Union of Liberia. So we did an analysis. We said how many persons registered in the elections or during the period of 2019 when the Press Union last held the elections. We found out there were 1,166 persons that registered in 2019 and that participated in the elections. So we found out that between 2019 and 2022, the list in terms of the figures increased from 1,166 to 1,374. Then we started to do analysis. How many persons have been journalists and they did not participate in the elections in 2019, but they registered in 2022? And how many persons registered in 2022 that this is their very first time to become a full member of the PUL? That is a new entrant or new entry into the membership category that we call full member. So we did the analysis. While doing that analysis, the union membership committee was working also, and then they brought an addendum list of 36 to the 1,374. And then prior to the bringing of the addendum, the Congress Committee, as you know, the Congress Committee is normally constituted in the third year of the union, that is to take us to Congress.
The third year of the union, that is.
Yeah, and in that third year, it leads to elections. It leads to the Congress, in fact. And then the Congress Committee that was chaired by Caroline Myers Zodwa. The committee announced at a certain stage that the membership list or the voter roll has increased from 1,374 to 1,410. And then there was no list of the members that were published to say Cyrus McGee, Julius Kanumba, Nathan Charles, Festus Pokui. There was no list, but they just brought a figure out. And then when they brought a figure at 1,410, also of the membership, because the membership committee was not aware of that particular figure. And then an addendum came of 36. So we said, what is happening? The membership committee that is charged with the statutory responsibility to vet the members published a list of 1,374. The Congress committee brought 1,410. And then there was an addendum by the Congress and Election Committee of 36. So we did all of the figures. We saw that the list increased to 1,446. So we said, which part of the Constitution gives the Congress Committee, the Subcommittee on Elections and Inauguration, the power to increase the list? There was no part of the Constitution. So we wrote a letter to the Membership Committee, the Congress Committee, and the Elections and Inauguration Committee, which is a subcommittee. We said we've observed several irregularities. First, the Membership Committee published a provisional list of 1,374. And then the Congress Committee announced also of the Membership Committee a list of a figure of 1,410, and then they brought 36 addendum. So when we raised that particular point, we also did an analysis of the list and saw that yes, indeed, the Congress Committee and the Elections Committee, they increased the membership list and they did a publication. And then we checked, we said, but there has been an increase in the list. And we saw that 800 additional names registered for the elections of 2022 as compared to the figure of 2019. And out of the 800 names, we had around 400 persons that registered, and they were new entries, completely new. It was first-time voters, as some people might like to say. So we said, but how did these people become full members of the PUL? From 2019 to 2022, we need to know whether they were first associate members of the union and how long did they practice.
So in short, the committees, both the Congress and the Electoral Committee, they could not verify how this number you said increased if we just take it as it is.
That was our contention. We could not verify. So we're requesting a verification. So we said first we need to know how these people obtain their membership. And Cyrus, you've been practicing journalism for long, especially if you pass through the regular processes. Before you become a full member of the PUL for the first time, you got to become an associate member. And even if you are a full member, you got to fill in a form. So we're requesting access to the form to see how they got this particular membership in terms of the full membership. And then, Cyrus, what was interesting that we observed on the list, we saw that people who are not eligible, they've not met the eligibility criteria of practicing for 5 years or having a degree or degrees, they were granted full membership. And then we also saw that some of our colleagues who were practicing journalism, for example, somebody who was working at Radio Veritas, and the person went to the Defense Ministry, later in public relations position. The person was arrested on the allegation of raping his own daughter. The person was in jail, and the person's name surfaced on the full membership register of the PUL. And the person is being held on a non-bailable offense. So we said, how did this person register? And we also saw that some people or some individuals who were just recently impersonating as journalists and editors of Front Page Africa, they were arrested by the police and charged criminally for an offense of impersonation. Their names appear on the full membership register. And we also saw that interns, top reporters, janitors, receptionists, high school students, their names appear on the membership register, the full membership register. So we raised all of these points. We said there was a need for the membership register, that is the voter roll, as we like to call it, to be clean. And we presented a tip of the iceberg in terms of evidence to see whether the committee was serious. So when we wrote the letter, they invited us to a hearing, and we appeared. And for us, we knew there were legal implications because, the Presidium politics is not a politics confined to the Presidium of Liberia. Because elections, people want to win elections. And to win elections, you got to have a credible listing. So the committee did well. They invited us to submit pieces of evidence. They set their own date, and they wanted us to do it as fast as possible. We appeared before them. We said we needed to gather our pieces of evidence, but also to consult our lawyers. So we requested 3 days When we requested the 3 days, the committee said no. The 3 days they are requesting, those 3 days for OSA of the time to investigate any complaint. So we said no, the scale and magnitude of the complaint will require more days. So in the end, they requested that we take 1 day. We said no, 1 day was not sufficient. 2 days could be good. So all of us we agreed. And then the committee issued a statement that the burden of proof lies on us, who are making the accusation, and that we appear before them with our evidence. So they requested us to come with our lawyers. So for us, we contacted our lawyer. We came. The lawyer did the analysis. We submitted pieces of evidence. You are convinced that we had a case. And the lawyer, when he submitted the pieces of evidence, in fact, some members of the committee, they were, not good in their expression to our lawyers because he also practiced as a journalist. So they started to overlook him. So he presented the pieces of evidence that we had, just a piece, not everything, because we wanted to see the sincerity in the committee. And when he presented it, the committee issued a statement to that matter, to that effect. They said, yes, the voter roll needed to be cleaned because, yes, one of the parties, they could not identify even the party, right? They said one of the parties submitted pieces of evidence and the voter roll needed to be cleaned. So instead of the publication of the full membership listing, the final voter and the roll, the committee decided to postpone it until the voter roll can be cleaned. So how the voter roll to be cleaner, it was where the whole thing got messed up. For us, we said that to clean the voter roll, the membership register, you need to follow Article 10, Section 7 of the Constitution.
That talks about that, it comes back to the disaggregation.
Fine, that was the point. So the committee on Congress and the committee and the subcommittee on elections and inauguration, they said no, they cannot adhere to that constitutional provision because the voter roll is different from the membership register. We said no, the voter roll of the PUL is a derivative of the full membership of the PUL. So you can produce extra voter roll. So they said they could not disaggregate the data. And our lawyer plus us who work, we submitted what we call a strategic roadmap as to how the voter cleaning exercise should be done. They said they cannot go by 8. So we said if it cannot go by 8, we cannot sit with the committee from 3 p.m. up to the next day, whether it's 5 p.m., 7 p.m., 9 p.m., or any other days, to sit with the committee to say Cyrus McGee, then we'll say whether he has practiced, we'll review the form. Festus Pokui, whether he has practiced, we'll review the form. We said no, just go by the disaggregation and we'll be able to tell you that this person has not practiced for 5 years. But they wanted us to sit with them. The same way they did Fiji elections, you sit overnight, you clean the voter roll. We said no, it's a very tedious process.
Now,
do the disaggregation.
Now, Julius, with all of this, it could not get done. You saw it clearly that the committee, whether it was the Congress committee, the electoral committee, they were determined to move to Banga, making sure that elections takes place. You did not do anything. Why you held everything you have gone to court like you did right after the elections? You held it until the team went to Banga and you intended to issue a
no, Cyrus, no. What happened was we wrote the committee. Like I said, it was a long process. It started since I think the 15th of October. I think around the second week of October was the time they released the final. The provisional listing, the membership listing. Even the membership listing, it was not published in line of the Constitution, right? Because the Constitution says you should publish the listing 30 days before Congress. It was never done. Even the registration process, Cyrus, per the Constitution, all of us, as you said, myself included, including those on the leadership, this registration that we did in September was illegal. It was not in line with the Constitution. But because the union leadership has been ineffective, so what we did was that we follow all of the processes. In fact, the committee
don't you think that was the best place to start holding the leadership feet by the fire, not accepting an illegal registration, not going forward with the process until the right things are done?
Cyrus, we wanted change in the PUL, and since the leadership has been violating the Constitution, and to institute the change, you should start on the basis of the elections. The elections are critical because we're into the process. So what we did, we went before the committee. In fact, at a certain stage, the committee, the members said it was not in their purview to have an independent panel, because we told them that since you don't want to do the membership registry in line with the Constitution, then what we do, you recommend an independent panel, and that panel will be able to determine how the membership register should be done in line with the constitution. They said it was not in their purview to have an independent panel. In fact, said we want to create bottleneck. We want to bring, how they call it, ECOWAS. You know, during the national elections processes in Liberia, I think there was time the political parties had problem with the voter roll. And then they requested ECOWAS to come. ECOWAS sent a delegation. ECOWAS did it. So they said Julius and his team, they want for ECOWAS to come to Liberia to claim PUF voter roll. It can't happen, right? Yeah, they started playing fun out of us.
So
If all of that.
If we just sum it up,
just 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 1 point. So what we did was, since they say it was not in their purview, we said, okay, let's take it from their purview. We carry it to the leadership of President Kofi. We met President Kofi. We wrote in an official letter. Mr. Kofi, the membership committee, the Congress committee, the subcommittee on elections, they said this is not within their purview to set an independent committee of reporters, editors, publishers, radio station managers to come and vet and clean the voter roll. We need an independent panel. President Kofi, in principle, if only we got him clearly, in principle, he agreed for the panel to be set up, but he did not want to use the word independent panel because he felt that it was going to take away the responsibilities of different committees or of the leadership. So we said, no, the panel, just the Reporters Association, the Female Journalists Association, all the auxiliaries or constituent members of the PUL. So the next day, you know what Kofi did? The same template letter that was written by the Congress committee, the elections committee, that's the same letter he wrote, and he now replied, but he passed through the Secretary General, who is a party to the election in terms of being on the other side. He passed through the Secretary General. They seen the same template. They said, come, let the voter roll be clean. We said, no, we want to clean the voter roll, but you got to disaggregate the voter roll. And Cyrus, the guys, they were in this sort of a network of cahoots, right, or clique, that anything we say, they go and meet, they decide, and then they reply us. In fact, Cyrus, on a holiday, they call us to come clean the voter roll. On Saturday, they call us. On Sunday, non-working days, on a holiday where the government declared public holiday, the elections committee, they call us to come and clean the voter roll. We said, no, you have to be serious. You have to be serious, right? So we did all of these things, and they said that they were going to elections. In fact, what happened was the election was to be, the Congress was to start during the second week of November.
The census.
And you know what they did? Because they were now prepared to host the Congress at that particular time, luckily a window of opportunity opened for them. The government announced that on Friday, it will be National Census Day. The Congress was to start on Thursday. And the leadership had initially thought they could hold the Congress for 2 days. So the government said Friday will be a holiday. So there will be a National Census Day. So before you look, the leadership met, whether they met or they never met, but they met, and then they postponed the Congress. And when the issue was
that done in consulting both parties that were going to elections, maybe the Kanumba and
they did not consult. They did not consult anyone from the Julius Kanumba team. They never consulted, and that was a very much bad practice because we are into the electoral process. Cyrus, the presidential elections, they are very expensive. You have to tour the entire country. You have to, lobby to facilitate certain processes. You have to book hotel. In fact, the present leadership said for the first time, Cyrus, I know you've been practicing journalism for long. You never one day book and the hotel on your own and for the PUL. That is even only the president announced. But in this year elections or Congress, the president said they can't afford accommodation for you, they can't afford transportation for you. So everything was left on the candidates. So they never consulted us, and they postponed the Congress, and they issued a statement officially to say that they consulted the candidates, and this was done in consultation with the candidates. We said, no, we have to put this on the record because we know that this case might go to court, and we put it on the record. We said, no, the statement on the postponement of the Congress was done by the leadership without consulting us. So all of this happened, and then they postponed the Congress to the next week. So we said, first, we cannot go into the process when the voter roll is not clean.
So then at that point, the question remains, at that point, why didn't you just go to court, but you waited for the entire Congress committee, electoral committee, and some members to go over to Banga before you intended issuing a writ to